Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 193. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are presented by DraftKings. The Brooklyn Nets and New York Knicks are both 1-2 on the season. The Nets get their first win of the year tonight, a 133-121 victory in Charlotte against the Hornets. Meanwhile, the Knicks, they'll play the Cleveland Cavaliers on Tuesday night. If you're listening to this on a Tuesday, you get a little bit of a preview of Knicks and Cavs. The Nets get the first win. One fans were craving. It feels really good. If you're a Net fan, we'll chat about it. And the Knicks coming off a loss against the Pelicans. So both teams right now at 1-2 on the year. Alex, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. I made some money on the Nets tonight. That was great. Made a bet on DraftKings. Nets +1. Did not need the one. Could have went money line and made another $30 or so, but pretty happy about that. So I was kind of this is the first night that I was really able to sit down and really watch the Nets, because earlier in the season, the preseason, I definitely didn't pay attention to them, but besides like following the stories and stuff like that. But then, the other two games, I was in and out of both of them. So this is the first one that I really sat down and watched them. And like the Nets are pretty good. And they have no alpha, but like they're just like it's just a free flowing team. Cam Thomas is nice, and he looks a lot better than he did last year. And Ben Simmons has got a pulse, man. Like as a Nets fan, you should be excited about this team. And I know that they're not like great, but they're going to give you some good basketball, and they're going to be pretty good. And it hurts me to say it. I mean, I'm happy to make money on them when I bet on them, but. So it was kind of weird because I was sort of rooting for the Nets, even though like I would catch myself, the Hornets would score and like Mark Williams would dunk it or something and be like, yeah, oh damn, no, fuck,
Cut it to 7. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And Mark Williams is good, man. That kid's gonna be a player. You know what I mean? Like he's athletic, he's lean, he can jump. He's gonna be a good player. But anyway. Who cares about the Hornets?
I think it's really pinned. We'll keep going. We'll not make this about the Nets. We'll make it about the Hornets.
Yes.
Brandon Miller, he also showed some flashes where I think if you're a Hornets fan, you get excited about what you have in him. But I just thought it was really interesting to hear your perspective of that because you are a known, net hater in a sense. So I thought it was really interesting to get your perspective on that. And remember for the Nets, they were without their starting power forward and center. So Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson are not playing. Spencer Dinwiddie did not play in the second half. But to your point about Cam Thomas, I think we'll begin there because he has displayed skill this season and scoring ability that if you are a Net fan, it's something you did not think would happen this year. And people will say, well, Mike, we saw Cam put up these 40-point monstrous games last year, and then he wouldn't play. The difference this year is everything is within the flow of the offense. He was 12 of 14 from the line. He's getting to the basket. His mid-range has always been sick, but now he's doing some of the other things, and it's not all forced shots. It's within the offense. He's benefited from Ben Simmons being alongside of him. He's helping him to get some open shots. And the trio of Mikal, Ben, and Cam Thomas, who's now, the second youngest player or whatever to score 30 points in each game to start since like Shaq. I mean, Cam Thomas is putting up numbers in each comparison. There is a Hall of Famer attached to him. Cam Thomas has given Net fans a reason to believe that this season could be better than just a 10 seed and that this team could be fighting in the mix of some sort of relevancy in the Eastern Conference. You leave this game feeling good because you beat the Hornets, you got the win. But if you look at their first two games, and, this is something everybody will say, but they didn't. They should have defeated Cleveland, and they should have defeated Dallas. And they blew both of those games, and then they knocked the socks out of the Hornets pretty much. The game got to about 7 or 8 at some points, but it never really felt totally in doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the first 3 Net games, and like you said to start the podcast, the Nets are kind of good. And I think a lot of Net fans are sort of surprised. Even at 1-2, you're like, we're not bad. Like, okay, we're going to be here.
Yeah, and with the Luka thing at the end of the game, the second game, that's just like you just gotta like tip your cap, but not even tip your cap, just be like, "Happy birthday, Luka!" Like, you know what I mean?
It's
Some of those
fucking
shots,
crazy.
you just that was just bad luck, and we can't win them all, but you're sometimes it just doesn't go your way. That's one of
No,
those games, like Knicks and Pelicans in their third game. It was just like it just wasn't their night. You know what I mean? The
back to
second
back
night
too.
of back to back, yeah, it just wasn't their day. But Cam Thomas, back to him, if he was a Knick, he'd be one of the most popular players in New York City. Like it just this, I'm not trying to like belittle the Nets at all, but he really would be. Like, you know what I mean? Like look at the pedestal we put RJ Barrett on it, and look at the pedestal, other players they're put on, like Mitchell Robinson and stuff like that. And they're not, I'm not saying they're household names, but they're way more popular than, Cam Thomas. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, if he was a Knick, it would be like a different level of excitement for this guy and clamoring for him to start as well.
I think you almost got through 10 minutes of giving Cam Thomas love, but you had to somehow bring it back
But
to
it's
that in
true.
the
Yeah.
Knicks. I'm trying to think how it's true. I guess through the lens of like the Knicks are more popular. I mean, I guess explain to me why that's your viewpoint.
Because he is good
No,
and
no,
he's
no,
on his
no. On
way and he's young
the
and
Nick angle, like why there would just make it that much
because
more special.
you said it already, because they're more popular and there would be more eyeballs on him, and there's local radio stations that don't even mention the Nets. You know what
There's
I'm
local
saying? Like
radio
they don't
stations that
exist.
don't even mention the Knicks.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, at least like if there was a guy that was this good that's getting better and better and better, they would be talked about a little bit. Like RJ Barrett was talked about a little bit. Quickley is talked about a little bit. Like when they're relevant and they have big games in the opening night or something like that, things like that. I just feel like it would be more. And I just it's sad for him, but it's also
Uh,
good for his development, because last year he dropped a couple 40-point games and then disappeared. You know what I mean? That would have been like hell to pay, So it's good and bad.
I'm not gonna get an argument. I'm not gonna go down the road of I'm not gonna go there. I've said my stance on it. I firmly believe it. I do believe the Nets are growing within the city and developing a
No,
fan
I do.
base
I believe that too. I
that
believe
is
that too.
maturing and blossoming. I mean, the Net home game versus the Cavs was electric in game one. Had a terrible ending, but is growing and vibing up more. I think some of that, to your point, is true. And then I think a lot of it is just, this bloating feeling that Knicks have, where in their mind they say that because they have this firm belief of where they came from their whole life, that if this is the way things are. To your point, yes, there would be more eyeballs on him, but not this idea of like, oh my God, the whole city would be electrified by Cam Thomas. I can't get behind that stance. I'm not going to let you go there. I'm going to push back on that part. Yes, the Knicks are more popular. I've always said they're more popular, but this idea of like if Cam Thomas was a Knick, this would be what everybody's talking about. I don't hear anybody. Well, I'm not going to do it.
If RJ Barrett was a Net, what would you think he'd be as popular as he is now? Do you think he'd be
I
like
don't
one?
think is he popular now.
I think he's very popular. I think he's very
Uh,
known. Yeah, in New York sports circles, not like household name for random people that
I,
But I
I'll,
think
I'll say this. I would tell you. I'll take this to the bank. By the end of this year, more people nationally will know who Cam Thomas is than RJ Barrett.
I don't know about that. I think RJ Barrett's already pretty known, considering he
I
was the
think I
Duke
think
guy, number 33 pick. You know what I mean? He's
I don't
been
know. I don't.
ascending.
I'll tell you this tomorrow when national sports shows are talking about basketball. RJ Barrett will be nowhere near relevancy, and
Well, he
Cam
didn't
Thomas is
play.
going to. Well,
He didn't play today, so I mean,
Cam Thomas is going to be a bigger household name than RJ Barrett when the season's over.
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. Because RJ Barrett's been playing well,
He
man.
has
He
been.
has been
He
doing.
has.
He's been doing his thing. He really has.
No, he has. He's had a good start. He hasn't had a Cam Thomas start.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Hold on. I'll pull up Barrett's numbers because he has been really good. He hasn't had Cam Thomas because Cam Thomas is dropping 30s, but Barrett was 24 points, 26 points, and 18 points. And
What's the shooting?
the shooting. His percentages
Yeah,
are four. Relax.
yeah.
He's shooting 47% from the field, 82% from the line, and 37.5% from deep.
And Cam.
And Cam, let's see. Cam.
I don't know if they have his third game.
Probably
not in there yet. I don't know if it'll be in there yet.
No, it's not going to be. It's not loaded yet. But for the his 3 games are 36, 30, and 33. So he's
shooting above 50%.
Right. So his 3 games, he's 61% or 62%, 63%, 58, basically 59%. At the line, he's only missed 5 free throws out of maybe around 20.
And he was 12 for 14
around
tonight.
30. Yeah. And 2, 3, 4, 8. Yeah. So it's been pretty good. He really has. And it's been better,
he's been awesome.
Obviously. He's been amazing. That's what I'm coming on the show, giving him credit. Like he's been awesome. But
just spin it back into, if he was on the Knicks,
he's been great.
He's been
on really
the Knicks,
great.
He'd be so much more popular.
He really would be.
Right. 1994 called and they said, "Shut the fuck up."
I'm just saying. I'm just giving you. That's all I do here is I give you facts and my opinion, and that's my opinion.
Yes.
And Cam Thomas is nice, and so is Mikal Bridges, and they are really, they're really good. The Nets are really good. They really are.
And then to your Ben thoughts.
He looks good. I mean, he looks quick. He was, he had that one drive to the bucket where he got hit and he didn't get the foul call early. And he's been, that deep pass that was like a touchdown pass that I think it was to Dinwiddie. That was really cool. And that was a cool camera angle they had from under the basket, like right behind him. So you saw it like perfectly. But he looked good. And if he's going to do that for you, that's even more exciting. I don't think he's going to ever be what he was with Philly, but I think if he gives you this, he's contributing. He's not worth his contract, but at least you're getting something out of the contract and not goose eggs. So it's something to be excited about as a Nets fan for sure.
Again, no, I was telling you this is what I was seeing in the preseason. Now I think for him, he's played better when Nick Claxton's not on the floor, and that's been sort of an issue with them together. Has clogged up the paint a little bit. And Nick's been out for these 2 games. You can see Ben is really feeling free and driving to the basket and couple of times. He got to the free throw line for the first time this year, but he's creating shot for others. His defense has been he's good at defense, but if you really watch him play, guys burn him and he's scared. I don't know. He has this hesitancy to let guys get to the rack and sometimes doesn't give he's scared to give up fouls, he wants to stay in. I don't know, but his defense goes on and off and he turns it on when he wants to, but there's definitely moments where he turns it off. But you feel good about the Nets. Ben Simmons is going to be an 11, 8, and 10 guy. Cam Thomas is going to lead the league in scoring. Mikel's your number 2, and you're waiting to see what happens with the other players. I am very excited to have our healthy Cam Thomas, RJ Barrett season-long comparison. And I'm really excited for when Knicks fans listen to this episode and are forced to agree with me is going to be even better.
We'll see. There's a lot of overrating of RJ Barrett in Knick land, a lot of it. And, I fell for it early and I still think he's going to be a very good player and fringe all-star as his career goes. And he's just going to keep getting better. And this guy's averaged 20 points per game the last 2 years, pretty much. So it's he's still young. He's 23. So, he's on his way, or 24, whatever he is. He's on his way to being very good. And, he might not be what a number 3 pick could be, like a Russell Westbrook or a Harden. I don't know if they were number 3 picks, but I know they were top 5. But it's just they're going to be, he's going to be very good. He's not, some bust, just put it that way. No, I would agree with that, obviously. Right. And the Knicks play the Cavs today, if you're listening Tuesday morning. And, it's going to be fun because it's going to be one of those revenge games, but it loses a little bit of the sizzle with Garland and Jared Allen are out already. And Donovan Mitchell's questionable, but I'm sure he'll play because if he doesn't play, then the Cavs are just punting on a game completely, but if he's hurt, he's hurt. But it's just the NBA. I thought they were going to do the whole, I know I'm bouncing around here, but the NBA, I thought they were going to shut down the resting thing. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy Butler, game 3, he's resting. What are you tired from? You know what I mean? I mean, rest at least in December or January. You know what I'm saying? This is why I was telling you the in-season tournament, as much as it's going to be, a little more fun, I guess. You say you think it's going to be, and maybe you're right about that. I don't think so. But nobody's going to play in that championship game. That doesn't even count. There's nobody's going to play. And it's going to be embarrassing for the league. And if they're already sitting for game 3, nobody's going to play in an in-season tournament championship game in Las Vegas. They're just not going to even travel. This is how I feel.
I think after watching this net team, they have a legit chance to win this championship.
You're gonna hang the banner. You're gonna hang the
I
banner
would
if they
hang
win the
banner.
championship.
You know, unlike Knicks fans who would be embarrassed to raise the banner, I would not be. I would
Right.
put it up and I'd be proud about it.
Like Nets' first championship in the NBA. That's gonna.
It happened. First one. I could use a title. Why not?
It still counts. It's a championship.
Hell yeah.
Technically, it's a
Hell
championship.
Yeah, it counts. Hell yeah, it counts. Put it
Does
up
Summer
there,
League
man.
championship count or no? That doesn't count, right? Summer League
that doesn't count. That's a stretch.
No. Yeah,
that's a little bit of a that
just
is a little bit of a stretch. Yeah, it's so funny though when you're 0-2 and you're watching these games. It's such a relief to just have a win because you just start to. The Nets schedule is disgusting.
Yeah. No, and especially like it got a little close at the end there with the Hornets coming back, but at least it was like it never got to the point where you're like, oh my God, they're gonna lose. No. It was just kind of like, all right, this is their run. They had like a 9-2 run or something, and it was kind of like the Knicks. They lose game one when they should have won versus the Celtics, and then game two they you think the game's over. You're like the Giants.
Hawks come back.
You know what I mean? And then the Knicks just Grimes turns it over, and then Brunson throws it away. You're like, are you fucking kidding me? I thought this was over, but they somehow squeak it out, and they hit their free throws. Randall hit some free throws, even though he missed a couple. And you win, but then the second night of the back-to-back, you're in New Orleans after coming from Atlanta, and New Orleans didn't play from Wednesday to Saturday, and the Knicks are on a back-to-back, and it's like, how is that fair? But
it's the NBA. It'll even out. Yeah. I mean, it always does.
It really will
even out.
And I don't like the schedule excuses. I think that's you're just trying to set up your excuses for losses and overhyping wins early in the season if you're blaming the tough schedule, but. The Knicks have to win this game tomorrow. They don't have to, but it would be nice to be going 2-2 and not 1-3, especially with Garland and Jared Allen out. Sure. But Randall's been shooting terrible. He's been passing a little bit more, but he looks kind of checked out. Quentin Grimes is like, I don't understand the fascination with him, but with Tibbs is that he needs to start all the time. The guy's averaging like 7 points a game. He averaged 11 points a game last year. And if you have Mitchell Robinson, who's a 0 on offense, you can't now tell me that it's okay for Grimes to not score and score 3 points in a game most of the time, under 10 points. And your starting shooting guard is doing that. It's impossible to win that way consistently, especially when you have Mitchell Robinson, who's a 0, like I said. Quentin Grimes is good on defense, but he's not freaking Gary Payton. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to start Immanuel Quickley and play him more than Quentin Grimes. It's just at this point, it's just it's getting me annoyed. And I love Quentin Grimes. I don't hate him. I like him a lot, but it's just there's levels here. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you gun to your head, who's going to be a better player over time, Quickley, Grimes, or RJ Barrett, you might even say Quickley. You know what I'm saying? So why is he on the bench? Why is he playing less? Why is he not, getting the benefit of the doubt if he makes a mistake to keep playing? And I know he plays a lot, and a lot of times he closes, but Grimes is just like, what are we seeing here? You know what I mean? He's good, and he has some great moves to the hoop sometimes, and yeah, he's the fourth or fifth option on offense, probably fourth option. But at the same time, if Quickley was a fourth option, I guarantee you he's not dropping under 10 points a game. He's going to be getting his 15 at least. So that's my little rant. And I'm getting a little frustrated, and I just hope they beat Cleveland because I don't want to see them go 1-3. And then, we got to start blaming the scheduling. And then you have to play again back to back on Wednesday. I forgot who they're playing Wednesday, but
they're playing the Cavs again. Aren't they?
Oh, it's a home and home. I don't think so. But I don't know who they play, but I know it's a back to back.
They're playing Tuesday, the Cavs.
Is it 2 Cavs? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, home and home. Yeah. And then November 3rd, you're going to Milwaukee. So you better win the game, so you better win at least that first one, so it's tough. It's a tough early schedule, but you know what? You're a good team. You want to be a top 4 or 5 seed, win these games, win more than you lose. And it doesn't matter. The good teams don't complain about the schedule. They just go out and win. So that's how I feel about this. And I'm getting a little frustrated already.
Which is why, to the schedule, gods, I am okay. Like, I'm not going to be happy when the Nets lose these games, but I'm trying to give perspective of it's a long season at 82 games. And I think from the sample size for a Net fan, at least of the 3, like, okay, they're going to lose some of these games upcoming because the schedule is brutal, but that doesn't take away from where they can be at game 30, game 40, game 50, and just
right.
Do your best to keep perspective because the net schedule is really difficult. It's at Miami on Wednesday. at the Bulls on Friday. Then they're home for the Celtics, home for the Bucks, home for the Clippers, at the Celtics. So they got
Yikes.
I mean, that Celtics, Bucks, Clippers, Celtics. This is the top tier team. So I don't think the Nets are there, but I think I get here's what I'll say about it. It is frustrating that Cam Johnson got the news that he's going to be reevaluated in 10 days.
Yeah.
Nick Claxton's out. So after seeing this fun start, you're just like, man, I want to be healthy and see what we are against the elite teams with Cam, with Nick. Like the Celtics and Bucks are the best. The Heat went to the finals last year. Like, you want to see what it looks like because you are excited. And I think with those injuries, it's just disappointing early that you can't go into those games with a healthy roster. Kind of gauge how good you are, because the Celtics and Bucks are still figuring themselves out in a little bit of ways, but this is the best two teams in the East, and disappointing that you just can't have your full roster. Although, I wouldn't be surprised if this is games like the Celtics and Bucks take off, because the Nets aren't the Nets anymore for the years past. And I'll say this last point about it. The Nets play extremely hard under Jacques Vaughn. There's been a lot of complaining about some rotations and stuff. But they play their ass off. Like, they play really hard, and they'll catch a Celtics or Bucks team if they're not giving a shit. I mean, they will.
Yeah. No, it's true. And you know what? Losers complain about the schedule. If you're good or if you're bad, Nets or Knicks, sink or swim. You know what I mean? You want to be a top 4, 5, 6 team, win these games. You're the Knicks. You got a home and home with the Cavs. Win both. You beat the Cavs in 5 last year. You're better than them, people say, and I think they are. You know what? And Garland's out, and Jared Allen's out in the first game, and Donovan Mitchell's banged up. Sweep them. Do it.
But last year.
Win both. Win both. And then go into Milwaukee and give them a game. And then that's house money. If you win the 2 against the Cavs, it's house money against the Bucks. No one's going to expect you to win, but if you keep it close and maybe you have a shot at the end, you never know what can happen. The game's not played on paper. Sink or swim, bro. That's all I got to say. Sink or swim.
I was so stressed out about those Knicks playoff games last year, rooting so hard for them to lose, that I do feel a little more relaxed. Like, all right, we'll see how these first games go.
Right,
I know in 3 or 4 months from now, it'll be different when you're home court, seeding, play-in games, et cetera, et cetera. So now it's just like, I was very happy that the Pelicans won, but at the same time, kind of knowing, I was like, it's not game 6 versus the Heat, where I do not need to have a Madison Square Garden have a home game 7.
Yeah, you don't. I do. That'd be nice. Maybe it just stinks. I just hope that we can get a 4-5 Knicks Nets first round playoff series.
Some
That'd be
point.
Great.
Maybe this is the year.
Maybe this is the year. We've been begging for it all this time, hoping this entire podcast that we get it. And another funny thing was, so I was into the Nets game a lot tonight. So I tweeted out, the Nets had 42, the Bridges had that 3, and then Corey Cantor, one of our listeners and friends, big Nets fan, says, "Is Mike tweeting from Alex's account?" And that just brought me like a funny idea. Imagine we just switched accounts for like a day. God. And see, like, what do you think? You think people would get it from the beginning? Like, I just tweeted like about the Nets though, and you tweeted about the Knicks from either of our accounts. And
like, what I would be like my like, I would tweet as if I was in my own account, but just in yours.
I think you tweet like as your personality, but about like being a Knicks fan, and my personality, like being a Nets fan, and like seeing how that would go for a day, and see if people would know that we did the switch.
I would probably get more interaction on Twitter, and you'd get less. That's what I would think would happen.
Yeah, because if Cam Thomas was a Knick, we'd be more popular. That's just
I don't know if tweeting that from my account would be a good decision.
No, I would tweet like pro net stuff. I would like play the be like one of these Nets aggregators and like, oh, can you believe that Cam Thomas is the first person since whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, since Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Michael Jordan. He's that good.
That those graphics don't mean shit, because like there's a graphic where most consecutive triple doubles, and it was like Russell Westbrook, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, whoever these are, Magic Johnson, and then the last guy on the list is Elfrid Payton. He had like a sick run with the Pelicans where he had like a million triple doubles in a row, and it's just those really don't mean shit. That's all I have to say.
I will say though, every list that he's on all these lists with all of these other great all-star, superstar level players, and I don't think I think there's something to that he keeps joining these lists that you don't like, that he's on them. I mean, he keeps joining them like he's doing something right. Cam Thomas is playing like a bona fide star. I was thinking if I had the the graphics and the time, I wanted to do something like KD decides to return back to Brooklyn after seeing Cam Thomas wants to team up with him, or one of those stupid things.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't have the energy or the capacity to figure that out. Your boy, not is Obi Toppins that hasn't. Let's look at his line tonight versus the Bulls.
He was like 6 and 8 or something.
6 points.
I traded for him
rebounds.
in fantasy.
Obi
6.8 rebounds and a steal. He still has not played over 30 minutes. So first game 19 minutes, second game 18 minutes, third game 23 or 24 minutes, just about. He 11. First game's 11-4, second game 4-4, third game 6-8. So but the Pacers are 2-1. And they go to Boston next. So we'll see. I mean, it hasn't been a good start. He's on a new team and they're, things are going there, but I don't know. I'm just being sad. Why is he not playing? It was a funny, who said it? Oh, boys at the New York Knicks podcast. They tweeted out, like, I can't believe Tibbs is not letting Obi Toppin play with the Pacers more minutes or something like the funny way he said it. Like it's all Tibbs' fault. So I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, probably is. Maybe Tibbs is giving Rick Carlisle some intel. There had to have been a point where Carlisle and Tibbs were on some staff together, right?
Carlisle and Tibbs.
Like there had to have been a point where they somehow crossed paths. And I know
at some point they had to have
at somebody's bench. I mean, I saw a photo today of Thibodeau when he was with the T-Wolves. I mean, he was sexy.
Yeah, like the mullet. And he had the long hair. He's like
great. I was like, whoa.
Like, where did this come from? Yeah.
Sorry, Tibbs, if you're listening to this. But no, he looked great. Like that Minnesota. I was like, wow, that's the same man. I was impressed.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy that he is like the same person, and I don't know why. Like, he's been so arrogant this year of like, they win game 2 and they barely hang on with the Hawks. And somebody asks him like, oh, have you, just some like technical question about a rotation or whatever. He's like, all I care about is wins. It's like, oh, come on, dude, bro. Like, it's just like, it just seems so phony to me. I don't know. Just like he doesn't want to answer the question. He's just trying to say the right thing to get people fired up. I care about wins.
The opposite. He's just like Mr. Positivity. We're learning this together. He said today that Cam's teammates are now trusting him, which is true. Can I want to give a shout out on Twitter to at Bob Sacamano _5. And he tweeted this, and I just thought it was a really interesting take.
Okay.
Love when a rookie Sean Marks drafted does well. Everyone applauds Jeff Peterson. I don't even know who that is. I assume that's part of the development. No, it's not with the Mets pitching coach.
I was going to say Rick Peterson.
There must be a Nets development guy, would be my only guess. But if he drafts someone and sucks, he gets all the blame, because it's so true. Like in all of this Cam Thomas resurgence, there has been no, hey, the Nets drafted him super late and he's turning into a really good player before our eyes. And there's nothing there. But the second Sean Marks drafts anybody that sucks, it's like, oh, how could you think that? Marks.
That happens with the Knicks too. That happens with the Knicks too, because it was like dating back to even to Phil Jackson. It was he drafted Porzingis. It was the right pick over Moutier and whoever else, Hazonia. Yeah, and nobody gave him credit for that. They're like, oh, it was Gaines. He flipped over a table and made Phil Jackson make the pick, and it's just like, shut up. Everybody booed the pick on draft night. And it was the right pick,
right.
and then there's also with like Leon Rose. It's like whenever he makes a decision that's not the right decision, it's like, oh, that was Rosas. That was the other guy. It wasn't him for that one. He's known to not do that decision. And da 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 da. It's people make up narratives and whatever they want to spin it into. It's kind of the misinformation like of other things that are going on in the world right now that we will talk about. They'll spin everything into their own narrative and their own thoughts and not pay attention to what's actually going on. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's the way that people try to manipulate to make themselves feel right. Like I was talking about, like the Homer Knicks angle. It's like it's an early season, and there's a lot of back-to-backs and a tough schedule. And if they end up at like 7-9, we'll be happy. And it's just like you're just setting yourself up that if they lose, it's okay. And if they win, it's overrated. So just stop it. If you're good, sink or swim, win these damn games. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, there wasn't any of that last year with the Knicks.
What do you mean?
It was like there wasn't as much expectation on the franchise.
Right. Coming off a bad season.
No one thought the Knicks would. No one thought they were going to fall apart the year that he had.
Right.
Julius Randle. People wanted him and still do. But
I still do. Yes.
But there was the way the season ended the year before. When Obi had the 87-point game versus the Raptors, 7D squad, people wanted Julius Randle gone, like there. And then, but to Julius's credit, he had another poor playoff, but he was really good in the regular season. What was it? All NBA third team, whatnot. So, I mean, he played himself back, but it just changes, right? It just changes fast. And that's why this year it's like Knicks have expectations again. Jalen Brunson year 2, Julius Randle all NBA player, RJ Barrett's your third option, Quickley 6th man of the year, got snubbed, of course, last year. Yes, so, but the point is they've got talent, they've got guys, they've got depth. So now you have a different view of that. As the Nets fan, I'm where the Knicks were last year in a lot of ways, where no one's paying attention to them to be successful. I'm not saying no one's paying attention to them like Net fans
more than usual. No,
but there's not this. Last year with KD, Kyrie, it was all eyes on them to succeed. Now, from a national perspective, there's nothing there.
They're relevant. They're like the Timberwolves or the Hornets. You should say.
But Cam Thomas keeps playing like this. He's going to garner them more attention because he's a lightning rod of. I can just tell you from experience, he's interesting to talk about because of how much he scores the ball and how much he didn't play. Adds for an interesting conversation.
I think it's fair to say if he's averaging 36 points a game in the next 3 months that he's going to be talked about a little more. So I think that's a fair.
God, I hope so.
Prediction.
I get it. I know what's going on, man. I know what's going on.
And still, he'd be less popular than RJ Barrett. Still, if he doesn't know.
I see a Twitter question tomorrow.
Who is more popular?
Who has a better season when it's over? I'm not doing the popular game. I'm just not going down that road.
You can't gauge it. It's just it's a matter of opinion. You can't do a poll question for that because it's just a matter of opinion. That's all that is. You like to have a little fun and
I think who's gonna have a better year makes for more interesting fodder.
What? Oh, just Knicks or Nets?
No, or Cam or RJ.
Cam or RJ. Okay. That is, who statistically is going to have a better year.
Or who ends up having a better season. Now, I would say Cam's probably if he ends up scoring more, but RJ does other things. I wouldn't dictate it just
not by one
score more points.
Yeah.
But
clearly
it's a lot of
Cam.
things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things like Cam Thomas might win them games. You know how it goes. I think that's a fair poll question.
That is. We should put it out right now. You want to put it out right now? Just like a 10-minute poll question and see what happens.
Not do it for 10 minutes. Do it in the morning when the podcast comes out, so it gets a little attention. People download.
Right.
You watched the Jet Giant game?
No, I didn't want. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. Setback football, like the 50 years. I don't even get that expression anymore. Where people are like it's setback football. It's just like okay, so now we're not going to be passing tomorrow. Like we're going to be running now. We'll be like.
Patrick Mahomes might never throw a pass again.
Yeah, because the Jets and Giants suck. Yeah, no, it was a shitty game. It was raining,
but it wasn't.
It was fun. I was watching. It was so many. It was like punts in the first quarter took forever. It took like a year and a half. There was so many punts and commercials, and it was just absurd. but Morstead was insane. He was like Jeff Fiegels, and it was great, man. And it was great ending and theater and Boomer Esiason gets called out for not knowing the rule, and it's all fun, man. And that's the beauty of a Jets Giants game, is that even when it's a shitty game on paper, that it's talked about like crazy. If the Jets played the Seahawks and it was that kind of game, nobody would care. I mean, you talk about it because of the Jets, but like it wouldn't be like all angles. And then Leonard Williams is traded the next day, and it's just there's a lot there, But it was fun, and it was a roller coaster, and just Breece Hall is just so good, and Garrett Wilson is so good. Like they're so good.
Well, and you had a Breece tweet, and you said he's the best running back in New York.
He's better than Saquon,
and it's not even close.
It's not.
I don't know how it can not.
Breece Hall's better than
close.
Saquon Barkley.
It's not even close. Like, what does that even mean?
I just feel like he's just so much better. He's just like a real running back, and he can do it all, and he can break, and he can get between the tackles. He's just that good. He's going to be one of the best running backs in football, like soon. You know what I'm saying? Barkley's not that.
I mean, the guy carried the ball 36 times.
Well, they had a Tebow offense going with the Giants. I mean, they had no choice.
I would ask you this: if he's not even close to Breece Hall, and the Jets, I would assume, knew every single play they were running the ball. I think it became pretty obvious, and he was still getting yards. I think you're kind of diminishing what he did, or the Jets defensive line just didn't have it as much in that situation where he was pushing them around a little bit, which was shocking. I mean, they
pushing around a little much.
They didn't drive the ball for a touchdown. I mean, that was shocking.
Right. And there was also one big run by Saquon, and then a couple stupid penalties, helmet to helmet. I don't know if it was on that drive, but they were able to drive down the field and score a touchdown. And a lot of it was dumb penalties. And also there was a lot of fatigue as it goes on in the game. And also there's fatigue, and there were penalties. The reason why the Giants were able to move the ball without passing the ball at all. It's just bottom line, those two reasons. And there's stupid penalties, the dumb penalty by Johnson, the dumb penalty, the helmet to helmet, the offsides on the punt when it's 4th and 5, you have them off the field. You know what I mean? There's so many plays like that happened, that if the Jets just were what's the word I'm looking for? If they just did not commit these penalties, I can't think of the words right now. If they just did not commit these penalties, we wouldn't be talking about Saquon Barkley getting 36 carries, because he wouldn't have gotten those many carries. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't know. It's just we're in like year 5 now with Barkley, and he's had a bunch of years that have been hurt, and he's had one good year, and he had a great rookie year, and then he had one decent year last year, and it's just like, I think we're so like, he's so high rated because of how he was drafted. He's going to be a gold jacket guy, and he's just not. Like, he's just not.
Well, I think to make the proclamation that Breece Hall is, light years ahead of him when he's played 4 games coming off an injury, and he's starting to get it going. He had a great play, which was a pass catch, and then got into the end zone. Otherwise, he had like 7 carries for 20 yards.
I'm just saying.
That was
just my opinion. It's my opinion. Breece Hall is better than Barkley, and he's going to be way better than Barkley. He already is.
Yeah, but not even close to me is the troll job in there.
Like, it's not trolling. It's just my opinion. I wasn't trying to troll. I wasn't trying to troll.
That's like being like, I think steak is better than lobster, and it's not even close. It's like, oh my God.
Like, they're 2 high quality foods. Yeah, no, yes, I know what you're saying.
They're both delicious, and it's like, why do we like that? The not even close part is the triggering part. That's the part where you eat. That's the little when you have my account tomorrow. That's the little part where you're going to get the reaction, and it's not even close.
I don't know, man. I don't see it. And I just feel like
if
Barkley wasn't
for Indiana State in the 80s as a running back coach, know your shit.
Indiana State.
Is that a school?
Yeah, but
you were a football scout there. You were a running back coach as well, and that's how you know these running backs so well.
Right. I was like Indiana State. No, so we're talking about Larry Bird. I just had this the name.
Well, you were the football. You weren't in the basketball program.
I know, it's just such a random school that you picked that, but no, it's just my opinion. I just feel like you can disagree all you want, and it's just how I feel, and I just feel like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are just such a like superstar level players that the Jets literally, if they can figure out this quarterback situation, and I've been saying that since forever in my entire life. But if Aaron Rodgers can be healthy, the Jets can really win, like really win.
I know. I
And
believed in that. I told you that. I had
and
said that. I said if they have a competent quarterback, they're going to win football games. I mean, they're
right,
winning football
right.
games without one.
Right. And Zach Wilson all of a sudden woke up on that last drive.
Of course
all of
he
a
did.
sudden, like, of course, and Garrett Wilson, you saw those catches down the sideline where he's tiptoeing. Like, it's insane.
Challenge was unsuccessful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was in bounds.
When he gets the ball. No, he had a very good game. And Zach, to his credit,
made
his best
two great throws.
When he had to.
But he also threw one at Breece Hall's feet.
That was not the greatest pass in the world. No, he had a bad game up. I mean, that's why it's just so
no pocket
crazy.
awareness, none. He has no idea what's going on around him. Yeah.
Like if you look at the last couple of games for both the Jets and Giants, the Giants are 2-6. They dealt Leonard Williams, which is the right move to get a second round pick. He was a free agent, so you stack up for the future with the season not going anywhere. The Giants are 2-4. They're playing the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, and Tyrod Taylor at the end of the first half makes a bonehead move, and the Giants don't pass the ball. They run it. They get stuffed. They don't get 3 points. Then at the end of the game, there's no pass interference call, whatever. Giants had a really good chance to beat the Bills. Two things went poorly, derailed that game. They beat Washington. Then you look at this Jet game, and there's 750 other examples of the same thing that could have changed. Giants could easily be 4-4, but that's the NFL is so like that, where little things change, and the Giants, who could easily be 4-4, riding high on a 3-game winning streak, are 2-6. You look at the Jets; they're playing against the fucking Eagles, and 3rd and 10, they throw the ball, it's intercepted. Jets get that opportunity, win the game. Then here versus
how about week
Giants,
1 also with the Jets, the Bills?
Like all these little nuanced things that could go right are starting to a little bit for the Jets. I mean, yesterday was a miracle. And for the Giants, it's gone south. I mean, if you look at it that way, I would say if you went into yesterday's game between these two teams and the Eagle thing went in that direction and the Bills direction went for the Giants would have come in yesterday at 3-4, and the Jets would, because they were 2-5, so they would have come in at 3-4, and the Jets, instead of being 3-3, could easily have been 2-4. And then the perspective coming into this game would have been, the Jets have to win. Jets have to win. They're the better team. They're coming off the bye. The Giants would have been favored based on 2 plays.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you also have to remember the Jets were 7-4 last year. And they didn't win a game the rest of the season. So, this is not something that's foreign for the Jets. Like, everybody's like, Salah's should be coach of the year. They lost Rodgers. I heard Beningo say that on the radio today. Like, if they win, if they make the playoffs, maybe he should get coach of the year consideration. It's just, the Jets were already this team. This is the team they were. Win ugly, have a great running back and a great defense and a star wide receiver and a shitty quarterback. They're the exact same team they were last year. Just they had Mike White, who won, who didn't win a couple of games, but gave them some stability. And wow, we saw what this offense can be with an actual competent quarterback. And they lost some games. He got hurt, whatever. But they were 7-4. This is the same coach that was 7-4 and then collapsed. So the Jets are 4-4 now. It's not that far off from what they were last year. You know what I'm saying? It's actually they're on a worse pace than what they were last year. So it's just like let's chill with the Jets. Like, this is like I can't believe they're doing this. No, they should have been doing this. This is the team that they're built to be. They just need a fucking quarterback, and they thought they had it. But of course, he daps up Vinny Testaverde before game 1, and Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles. So it's just, I just feel like I hope he comes back, but at the same time, I'm like, just go away. Like I said last week, Rodgers, just go away. Get out of my face, because you're teasing me, and I know you're not going to come back, and I will believe he's coming back when he's on the field. And I'm just so tired of him.
Yeah, I would say the AFC is not as strong as people probably had thought, but the problem is for the Jets in a big spot, there's no, I can't have firm belief that Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson,
Dolphins. Yeah,
I just can't see the Jets having enough offensive firepower. And as good as their defense has played, it's eventually you need to have somebody that can make you plays.
Right.
And not just protect the ball. Although he did it. He did do it versus the Giants to end the game. He did do it. He did have it. The Bengals right now are the team to me that finally getting it in gear.
So good.
Now getting a win against the 49ers, like Burrow getting healthy. You can see it. You know what would be another just I don't know the Jets schedule off the top of my head, but I really
the next two I just pulled it up actually.
I hope they don't play this one team.
Oh,
the Steelers.
No, they don't.
Okay,
thank God. I hate the Steelers.
Well, just because two great defenses, but like the quarterbacks.
Well, they played them last year and they beat them when.
Oh, that's right. They beat them last year.
First game where he came in halftime. Those are one of the games that the Jets beat all the backup and rookie quarterbacks. That was one of those games.
Right, they did beat the Steelers last year.
But at Vegas on a Sunday night on the 12th, and then it's at Buffalo and then Miami home for Black Friday. So they still haven't played the Dolphins yet, which is crazy. But the Dolphins are going to win the division, and it's just the Bills are overrated, and so the Jets literally they should win the next two on paper, or they can win the next two, and then you're looking at your 6-4. And you're right. And you're 6-3. I'm sorry. And you're right where you were last year, the same exact record, 6-3. Oh. And then you know what I mean? Like we're the same fucking team. So stop overrating this team. Like they're good and I'm excited. And I'm happy, but it's just pump the brakes a little bit. That's all I have to say. And the Giants, of course, their season's over. So
yeah, frustrating. Giants have a nice young core on defense, though. You start to feel a little bit better about that with Kayvon.
He stepped up.
Dexter up the middle.
Yeah.
Dexter is a beast. I mean, those two together, that combination. Banks at corner is having a good couple of weeks. I know he had a few plays that didn't go his way, but you could just see the Giants' pieces on defense, at least there for the future, which makes you feel good. Offensively, though, I mean, that's there's problems. Especially if Darren Waller's now out. I mean, what are the Giants going to do? That was the pivot point game of the season. And that's the game when the Jets win the Super Bowl. You'll remember that game, Alex.
That's true.
The Victor Cruz game
championship video, right? The championship video.
I was thinking when number 80 for the Giants, who was returning punts, who had a good game. They signed him, and I'm spacing on the name. I was like, if he got in the end zone,
he had a funny name. Yeah,
if he gets in the end zone, I was like, you got to do the salsa versus the Jets. Like you have to. Like that'd be amazing. Like you would have to have that ready to go.
Yeah, and Lee Valentin, our boy, he named him. He gave him a nickname. He called him Diet Jeremy Shockey. Gunnar Alswiski.
Yeah. He was good. So, Giants needed a decent punt returner, and he secured the ball, got 8 to 12 yards. I mean, he had enough.
That's it.
Tries.
Make the catch. That's it. Just make the catch. Jericho Cotchery just was Jericho Cotchery for the Jets, and Jets fans will know he was not a great punt returner, but he always made the catch, and he always got you 10 yards. He got the ball, and that's it. He wasn't breaking one like Xavier Gibson, but he was catching the ball. Let's just make the play. That's it. Anyway,
this has been Bad Weather Fans. Episode
you ready to record?
93.
You ready to record now?
Am I ready to record now? I'm ready to go to bed.
Okay. I thought we were starting the show now. We were just talking. Okay.
Oh yeah. Did I hit record?
I don't know. Did you?
Can you see it from your end?
I can.
Okay.
It was a joke.
What do you think about doing a YouTube live when we do these?
I would love that one day. Maybe a Knicks Nets game or before or after a Knicks Nets game. I think it would be a good one.
You want to email the Garden? See if we could do the show there. You have some swing there.
Yeah, they love me.
Don't you have connections? You have connections at the Garden. Pull it off.
At the Garden? Oh, yeah. I have one connection at the Garden. Yes.
The world's most famous
I can make a phone call.
Arena.
Can you name? So you see my picture? There's a new one that I have in my background on. If you're watching on YouTube, it was a old Knicks Bulls game that I got courtside seats with a friend of mine who got him through his job, and I got it free. It was great. Can you name this player that's standing next to Ntilikina right here?
The Bull? Yeah, that's done.
Is it done? No, it's not.
Wait, number 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Jerry Grant.
Are you sure?
I'm 99% sure. I'm going to look it up now. No, I'm not sure. But I thought it was Jerry Grant. Jerry Grant, Bulls. Knicks draft pick, Jerry Grant. That's why I was mentioning him. Yeah, number 2. That's him. Standing next to Ntilikina. And I remember that the reason why we got these tickets was because I think it was, I don't know if Melo was there at the time. I don't remember who was there, but so one of the Knicks was out and the top Knicks was out. And then Levine wasn't playing. And it was just all like the backups that were in. And they were like, his job was like giving away tickets. And they're like, just take them. And so I got to sit in like the company suites. I got to walk down the garden onto the floor. I was like, oh my, this is like once in a lifetime thing. And even though they sucked, it was just exciting to do.
No,
Anyway.
yeah, if you're going to be courtside, there's nothing better than that. Man, I thought
this was in 2018, March 19th, 2018.
Thought it was Chris Dunn.
Nope. It was
That's
Jerry
a
and
million,
Grant.
million miles away.
Yeah, you would never guess that.
Body frames. There's
Yeah,
Frank.
game where Isaiah Hicks was playing in that game.
God, I miss those Knicks.
Derek Williams. And no, not Derek Williams. What's the other Williams? You wouldn't know anyway. Number 0.
For the
Tweet
Bulls?
me. No, for the Knicks. He's right there. Right there. This guy.
That I actually do not know.
Yeah.
I miss
Kyle
guys.
O'Quinn, our Queens boy.
Yeah.
You know.
No, he had a good
He was
he had
good.
a good couple
fun.
years. He could hit the 15-footer.
Yeah.
I liked him. Can you name what's behind me?
Yes, that is your window, and then you have your Leon the cat is somewhere running around in that room.
I kicked him out for today.
You did? Oh, that's mean.
Well, not out of the house, but he just was. He pulls on the cords is the problem too, and then like it gets all fucked up with the microphone.
Yeah, and then that's annoying. And I had a funny pet, not funny, but my pet story today. My dog Ruby, she was been shaking her head like just randomly, just like shaking, and like there's something wrong. So we called the vet, and they said she probably has an ear infection. So we went into the vet, and they said it's not so bad, and whenever we take these drops, and we're like, hey, she's due for one of these vaccines. So we're like, all right, fine, let's do a vaccine. And we're here anyway. And he goes to give her the shot, the doctor, and we were like, is it in? And like, no. And then he goes to do it. So we think he poked her twice, because then when we got home, she was just like out of it. Like, and she would just like, I couldn't touch her. She would squeal. I'm like, we need to go back to the vet. Something's wrong here, and she peed on my bed. It was a mess. Went back to the vet, gave her some doggy aspirin, and now she's herself. But it was like, how do you fuck up giving a shot? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so mad.
And I'm not.
I was so mad. I'm like,
no, of course.
We went there for an ear infection, and now she can't walk. Like, what the fuck did you do to my dog? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you don't need weekend at Bernie's behavior. I understand,
dude.
That's funny.
Anyway,
all right, episode 193. Cats and dogs. If my cat Leon was a dog, he'd be so much more popular.
Definitely. That's just thinking that joke.
Oh God, so old.
Yes,
I can't believe you went to that.
That's
really
true,
irritating.
though. I really think it's true. I really
First
think
of all,
it's true. And if Brees Hall was a giant, there would be a different kind of popularity for him as well.
Oh God,
put it that way.
I'll just say this: I'm glad that you have to come up with hypotheticals about Cam Thomas. That's I know. Yes, your coping mechanism for giving a net fan the Nets credit. That's your way of saying it. It's like, well, if KD was on the Knicks, do you know how much more? But he couldn't. He can't handle it there.
He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it in Brooklyn. He couldn't have handled it with the Knicks.
That's true. I guess
he walked right into that one. But
and Kyrie, by the way, when he was with the Mav game, he was not good. Luka had 49. Kyrie with 17 points on 6 of 17 shooting. He did nothing in that game.
How did you remember that? See, you remember that off the top of your head. I gotta tell you, everybody. He did not look that up. He just said that right off the top of his head.
Yeah, if my wife was listening, she'd go, "You can remember that, but you can't remember to start the dishwasher." And I'm like, I don't understand it either. She's like, "Can you make money on it?" I'm like, "No."
You're good with numbers. Why aren't you good with math? Do you remember all these stats? I'm like, it's just different kind of numbers. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm okay, but it's just I'm not like a math whiz. You would think, with all the different stats you can remember. They're all numbers, but it's not like I'm making equations here.
I don't know if I was just making those Kyrie numbers up.
Oh yeah, so it wasn't.
No, okay. I think that's what they were. Well, I know.
What did you? Oh, what you talk about Kyrie is did you like it? Not like, I know you didn't like it, but what did you think of him saying that the Nets should have just released me and everybody would have been happy?
I mean, I don't take it seriously. I can't
delusional.
even I didn't comment on it. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't talk about it on my basketball podcast with Alex. It's just he's just. I mean, obviously you don't do that. It just doesn't work like that in sports. You it
There's a
just
salary cap. Yeah, also.
it's just not. It's just an attention grabbing comment. But obviously, they parted ways. They got
Right.
Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and draft picks. So, I mean, from a business standpoint, wouldn't you rather have that back than just? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so stupid. It just doesn't.
Right.
I mean, it's just the same. It's the same
Right.
nonsense. And I honestly don't. I just don't. I watched that game and I just was like, I don't know. I never was like thought of the memories, or I was just like, all right, Kyrie's on the Mavs. Okay, it's like, all right,
It's over now. If it happened last year and they played Kyrie
yeah.
like right after, it would have been different. But now you
And
had a whole off season. You got Cam Thomas. You're like, whatever.
yeah, you're
You
over it.
know?
And I think when
Yeah.
he comes back to Brooklyn, I think that will incite different emotions because it'll be at home.
Will he play though? He didn't play versus the Celtics in Boston. He kept dodging them. So maybe he'll dodge the Nets
I
too.
don't think he's afraid of the Nets like he was afraid of Boston.
Mhm.
I think he was legitimately afraid to do it.
Yeah. He
Maybe
would. Because remember,
eventually
he gave the finger to the fans in Boston. They were giving it to him. Because
Oh
how do
yeah,
you
I mean
not? Yeah.
The Nets
Yeah.
beat the Celtics in 5,
Yeah.
and he killed them in that series.
Mhm.
And then the next year he had the great game 1 and faded and flipped them off, and then
Yeah.
like Jason Tatum and
The whole nine. Yes.
everything, and then the KD return that'll be fun too. But I guess you're right. Will these guys play? I have no idea.
Can
Who
you believe
knows?
the Suns is still not played with their big three? It's like Durant,
Not
it's part of him.
shocking. Of
Yeah.
course, it's not shocking. I mean,
Beal and Booker haven't played. I think
yeah,
Booker
it's not
played one game, but Beal
not
hasn't played
surprising.
yet.
It's not surprising. I mean, this is
Such a Durant thing. It's like it's just him. I really think it's him. Like he's just like everybody sit. Well, we got this. Just get to the playoffs. We'll figure this out. Hasn't he learned that that's not going to work?
I don't
What I'm
know,
saying?
but I don't think that's him. I think if Beal's hurt, I mean, he's ball. I don't think in
Too much
this
of a coincidence for
situation.
me at this point. I don't know.
I mean, in Golden State, he won.
They didn't sit though in there. I
No,
mean, like that. They went for the freaking.
no, he's got to win.
They,
He's got to for
he's got to
his
go to the finals at least with the
he's
Suns.
got to
Yeah,
get there.
yeah, at least
I
get it.
don't know. I don't know if I don't think they will.
Mm.
It'll be Denver. I think at the end of the day, the
Or
Jokic still
Golden
doesn't
State.
get
Or
Jokic
Golden
doesn't
State.
Golden
Yeah.
State. Jokic still doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No.
No one talks about him. The
He's
guy's just
boring. He's just a
boring, but
boring
he's
guy.
awesome.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
just 28, 11. He's like if you tripled Ben Simmons' numbers and you were felt confident about him and he played
Imagine
defense.
if imagine if he was on the Knicks and how popular he'd be if he was on the Knicks.
Evoking childhood
You made me
memories.
so- Oh man.
God, I just
That's true. If he was on the Lakers or the Knicks, he'd be a lot more popular. Just really what it
would
comes
he
down to. I think so.
would he maybe
That's
a
true. I
little
mean, at
more.
this point,
Would
maybe
he?
you're right. Because at this point in the NBA, you look at how popular those Oklahoma City Thunder teams were with Durant and Westbrook and Harden, and they were in Oklahoma City. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And same with LeBron in Cleveland. You know what I mean? If you're that great, you'll be noticed.
Cam Thomas is just fine in Brooklyn. He's going to get enough attention. And
Let Jokic win another one, and then he'll start getting a lot more credit.
episode
One is a fluke, 2 is a
Bad
trend.
Weather fans. If you want to listen to the extended version of Alex talking about Nikola Jokic and his
Yes.
MVPs, I don't know. I mean, you can go to his Patreon page at
Stay
Nick
tuned.
Central, Denver Nuggets fan 12.
Nugget Central.
Make sure you
Yeah.
pay. It's $5 a month. Contribute there. It's going a long way. They
Pay
had
for my
really
kids'
good
diapers.
guests. They
Yes.
had who did you have? You had Robert Pack on your first episode.
Yes, Robert Pack.
That was
and then,
good.
LaFonso Ellis.
Yes.
Yeah.
was nice. You're welcome for that contact. All right, this has been
Yeah.
Bad Weather fans. Have a good night, Alex. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you get all the way there, Lee? You gonna all right, bye.